Hey, girl. I just
Hey,
realized how janky my office looked. Dang. I'm gonna have to
yeah.
clean it up for next week. I have a clean office next week, y'all. I promise.
But when you're busy and you're working, sometimes that's what it gotta look like. Sometimes
That's
you
what
gotta put this little,
happened.
you gotta put this little false screen up and make it look
Right.
beautiful behind you.
Or maybe
Cause you know
I'll
what?
just do that. I'll get a green screen. That way I ain't gotta clean up nothing.
Exactly. I'll send you the link.
Okay. Thank
But
you.
I want to talk about the weather is, right? So the weather's so great, but the
Yes.
market is what? Right?
Right. I
So,
love that tie-in. Yeah,
right.
this market is volatile. We having like Katrina come through.
Oh
So
my
that is
goodness.
actually a good thing to start with today because it's a lot of stuff taking place. You know, I've been saying since last year, and whoever's been following us, if you listen to those episodes from last year, we talked about that, you know, get ready because it's coming. I was already seeing volatility in the market last year in the last quarter, especially ups and downs with the market and stuff like that. And so now, drum roll, the thing we've all been waiting for to see what the U.S. Federal Reserve is going to do. They actually announced today a 0.25% increase in the benchmark rate, which is what we use to base our mortgage rates off of. So actually, it did go up, and this is the first increase that we've seen since December of 2018 because they've been, you know,
Yeah.
with the pandemic and, you know, with the different things that's been happening economically, they've been doing a great job of stepping in and making sure that those rates did not go up. So they kind of been, you know, forcing the market to go in the direction they wanted it to go, as opposed to
Hmm.
allowing it to do its own self correction. So that self correction is happening now.
Yeah.
Um, is on the one hand, it's a good thing because obviously we want the market to correct itself, but also usually when interest rates go up, what people don't realize about that is that also means that the economy is rebounding. So that's not a bad thing. It means that
Yeah.
things are actually overall getting better economically and things are stabilizing. So people can now afford to pay a little bit more. And so when the market dictates you being able to pay, you know, pay more, that's going to happen. Things are going to go up. Supply, demand, you know, what's available and stuff like that. So
Right.
that is happening. In like just looking at the whole thing overall, we still have historically low rates. I mean, rates are still in the fours, some in the fives, depending on your credit and the product and stuff like that. But you know, we out of the ones and twos. Like I was telling somebody a couple of days ago that it was only about a year or so ago, maybe a year and a half, that I gave somebody an interest rate of 1.9% for a refinance on their house. That felt really good. I can't do that today though.
Yeah.
So
So that's definitely the thing now. We've talked about it. We were all excited over the last 2 years about the interest rate
yeah,
and how it was, greatly, low.
right.
Is that my feedback or your?
I don't hear any feedback.
You don't hear? Okay. So it's very interesting that now we're actually on the way up. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We're definitely rebounding. And from what they've been saying so far, it sounds like they expect to have about four more increases this year.
Wow.
So probably by the time we get to December, that'll probably be their fourth or fifth one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, everybody knows we've talked about it a lot. We wanted to make sure you're prepared. If this year is your year that you're planning on purchasing,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you want to go ahead and start looking now
Start
because
looking
the
now.
interest right because the interest
Yeah.
rates are low. Lisa just told us they've gone up, so we want to go start now before
Right.
they go up. Like so, she just said four more
Four
times.
more.
Liz?
Four.
Yeah, so four
We
more
anticipate
times. So,
about four more. Yeah, four more
yeah, by
increases
the
probably
time
by
you
the end of
get
the
to
year.
August and September, you could, we could be in a whole different ball game, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe you not qualify for a house or as much of a house as you wanted before. So
Yeah.
definitely a good time to go ahead and start now. And because we're gonna, last week we talked about looking for a house. So we've been going down this
Yep.
house journey. We've talked about the pre-approval, getting the pre-approval. Lisa took us all through all the documents that we need. You
Most of
know,
the documents.
most of them. Yeah, we didn't finish, but don't let that scare you off.
Right.
And so, then last week we started doing some house hunting, and we discussed
Yeah.
what not to do, right? Right.
Yes.
What not to do during that house hunting. So you've taken advantage to all our advice. We've had a great start, and
Mhm.
so we went out and we started looking for some houses, and we put down some good offers, right? And
Yes. How do
so,
we get to the point where we put down a good offer?
yes, right. The first part is to listen to your realtor.
Realtor. That's right.
Right. So
That plays a
a
big
lot of
part.
right. That's the first part. Listen to your realtor. I can't tell you what to put down for an offer, but what I can do is advise you on what I've seen in the past, and then we can make a decision on how to make a good offer. So
Yeah.
last summer there were people lined up outside houses,
Literally.
literally, like
Hmm.
to see houses, right? And my
Yeah.
appointment was at so and so time, and they saw a line, and they still thought that they supposed to go in at that time, but that's another story. So, so I was like, what? Where's she at? She just walked up to the front of the line, like we just standing
Like,
here.
you have an appointment. All the rest
She
of the
had an
people, they
appointment.
just showed up.
Right, like we just showed up or something. I don't know. But
Mhm.
with that, last year, it was very difficult to ask for things like credit for towards closing.
Mhm.
Um, or some of the different things we might want to request from the seller. But last year was a seller's market. So now this
Yeah.
year, so then that meant we had to do something different. So you had to come in with your highest and best offer. Not
Yeah.
that you decided to wait until what they called till they called highest and best. And highest and best, what that means is basically sometimes they may say we've got 5 offers, is this your highest and best offer, resubmit your best offer. For me,
Mhm.
I always suggest to my clients, always submit your best offer,
From the
because
very
we
beginning.
don't
Yeah.
know if they're going to call highest and best. I've heard people say, but they didn't call highest and best this time, they just accepted somebody's offer. And I said, we should have submitted highest and best. It's not the time to play, right? But to say, oh, are they going to give me a counter offer? Last year, counter offers did not exist, right?
Mhm.
Things have changed a little bit over December and January, February. I've seen some credits given.
Seen some pretty good credits too, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got a couple of team has also got a couple of good credits. So
Mhm.
some were able to get credits, some weren't. But those are things, going in. Maybe, interest rate is going up. That means that we're probably going to have less buyers than before, because it kind of pushes some people out of the game, and maybe that might
Or
make
maybe out of the bracket. It
right
may
out
change
of
what bracket people may fall in, because when that makes enough of a difference in a person's debt to income ratio for their monthly obligation, then that could
mm,
change how much they would be able to buy or where they would
yeah,
be able to buy.
yeah. So definitely with Lisa talking about the market, that's definitely gonna change some things. So would we be able to ask for a credit? Maybe we might be able to ask for a credit. Will we be able
Mhm.
to do less as is? Because last year that was a good thing to say as is. So then that way that was a way of winning an offer. Some people
Yeah.
have even given the seller credit, where we would ask for credit. Some people have given the seller credit. I don't have any of those people, but but those are things that have helped people to get their offer accepted. But
Yeah.
so there's a
But
lot
some
of
people have bid over and agreed that, even like we had one person earlier this year. I think she
mhm,
closed in February, maybe late January, but she paid over the amount of the appraised value.
yeah.
So, I mean, sometimes, people will agree to do things like that as well. Like, even if it doesn't come in at the appraised value, there's a certain amount that you might agree that you're willing to pay over, or like just
Yeah,
agree to whatever your sales price is. Even if it doesn't come in at that amount, you'll still pay it.
they'll still pay it, right? So
Hmm.
that was definitely a seller's market. Hopefully, we'll go into maybe a more neutral or market. I don't know if we'll go all the way to a buyer's
It's
market.
not likely.
Not
Yeah,
likely.
I wouldn't see that happening. Not, you need time to kind of transition, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So we might
Yeah.
just go neutral, but or we might still be in the seller's market because you still won't have the properties out that we need. Less properties available also increases that seller's market, even though you still may have less buyers, you still have less properties. So,
Hmm.
but let's say, okay, we put an offer down. I've submitted it to the listing agent. The listing agent normally calls um our wonderful lender. Yeah.
You got me.
Right. I hadn't pointed in a while. Right. She calls our wonderful
Right.
lender, and she asked right, she asked her, how is this client, right? Like, so a lot of times we'll get calls like that. And Lisa does wonders with talking us up, because she's talking me up, she's talking you up, saying that we're the best team, we're the best ones to for the house. And
Right.
so that's how we always, that's how we win offers, right? We do a lot to make sure we win. So because we
Now
want to win.
we are honest though,
Yes.
like I'm
Oh,
not. I don't want y'all to think I'm out here making up stuff. So, oh yeah, she got 800 credit.
no, right,
Knowing you was
no,
620. No, we don't do that. But I do present I present our team in such a way they understand. One thing that's really, really important is that they understand the level that I go to get you pre-approved, to get you pre-qualified. So
mm,
not everybody's doing that. I'm making sure I take a lot of information. You all know because you've been watching the show. So, I'm taking a lot of your information right up front. I'm collecting documents right up front. I'm analyzing. Sometimes I'm even doing a verification of employment right up front. We're doing all these things because all those things, as you see when you go through the process, they help you to be better qualified. So that way, when I have that conversation with the listing agent and they're looking at, five other offers, and they look at yours and they talk to me and they say, I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable with you because you know what you're doing. You've taken the time to do your due diligence. You didn't just give me a crappy pre-qualification. You gave me what I actually needed to know that there's some substance to what's in this paper. So now it's power behind it. They're
right,
not just
right,
words on the paper. It's power behind that, because when they talk to me, then they know that I've done what needs to be done in order to actually have you qualified. It's not just something I'm, guessing on, or okay, well, yeah, I just eyeballed it. No, I didn't do that. I went
right,
to great detail to make sure
right,
that you are where you actually say that you are. So that
yeah,
does actually go a long way with the listing agent, because just like Dion is looking out for your best interest, they're looking out for the best interest of their customer as well. So they want to make sure that select somebody who they have some confidence in. And so we do
mhm,
that. We present ourselves that way. If we don't have confidence in you, we're not going to present, you know what I mean? We're going to make sure
right.
you're at that point first before we even get you out there
Before
and
we
you're
go
looking.
out.
So that way you
Mhm,
already have
right.
an advantage.
Right. And that's why a lot of times, a lot of people are like, oh, can you take me to see this house? I'm like, are you pre-approved? Right.
Yeah.
So no need to go out until you're ready. You're prepared in order to get to that point. Right. So they've accepted our wonderful offer, because today we're talking about accepting the offer. And now it's like, what's the next steps? Like, what do I need to do? Now, you're my client. you already know what to do because I told you. But we gonna talk about it anyway. Right?
Yes, let's do that. What I
Right.
gotta do, Dion?
Right. So typically when we're putting down an offer, we know that we have to give earnest money. And so the earnest money is the money, it's just kind of like it like secures the contract and says, this
It's
person
like layaway.
yes,
It's like you putting this house on layaway. That's what it's like. Y'all
and
remember
that's your
layaway? You used to
deposit.
go to Venture and be like, hey, I want these clothes, but I don't have all the money right now. Can I put it on layaway? And I'm going to put down some money. So y'all, this is my good faith money. You know, I'm coming back because I really want these Jordache jeans. So I'm coming back. And here go my $25, $50, $100, whatever it is.
But
It's
for
like you
the
put your house on
millennials,
layaway.
I know you probably don't know nothing about that, but that's like your quad pay or your assist pay or something. You all got some new apps out there.
Oh, there you go. Right. Yeah, they do that like PayPal and stuff like that on eBay. Yep, you can do.
Right. So that right. See, we can't date ourselves. They don't know nothing about no venture. Woo. They're like, who? So, but yes,
There.
right. There. Oh my God, did you bring up there?
Yes, I
I'm
did.
too young.
Yes, I
there.
did.
I don't know what there is. I've never been there. I'm too young. I know about this quad pay and all that. I think that's what they call it. Look, hear me. I think that's what they call it. But it's like that. You put down a payment and then so it's your money to hold. Now somebody might say, just so you know, earnest money is not required. Like we tell you to put down earnest money, we suggest you put down earnest money, but earnest money, it really shows that you're a serious buyer. So whereas you might put down, and we'll discuss that when we're writing an offer. So now you've already decided how much you were going to put down. So you have about two to 3 days, mostly 2 days, in order to get the earnest money to either the listing agent's brokerage office or the attorney's office or the title company. And I will tell you where that money is supposed to go. So
and how you need to give it.
Exactly. And how you going to give it. And Lisa's got some detailed instructions about your earnest money. Because your earnest money cannot come out of that mattress.
What you mean it can't come out the mattress? That's why I keep all my money. What you talking about?
I don't trust the bank. Well, your money needs to be in the bank when you dealing with this. Like if we missed that when we were telling you to prepare over those 2 years, because we talked about preparing.
Yes.
Open a bank account.
Yes.
Right. So,
and I think we talked about that actually on one of our episodes. That's for some people to make it easier and kind of keep everything separated out. They will actually open an account that's basically my home buying account. Yeah. I just open up this account because I want to have all the money in it that I'm going to use for my home purchase, and that's it. Nothing else goes in that account. So that's an option for you. If you don't want to, mix the funds in with something else, then, think about just doing an account specifically for that. But it does need to be in the bank because I have to be able to do what they call source. I got to see where the funds have come from. It's like being on a Monopoly board, and I got to trace the steps that the money takes. So in order to be able to do that, you have to put it in places where I can show with evidence, like something in writing, like a bank statement, something like that. I have to be able to actually show where it came from.
Where it came from. So that's it. So a lot of times, I always say just do a cashier's check because that is the best way of doing your earnest money. Some people may accept a regular check, but I always think that a cashier's check is best. That way, that you have proof of, getting that withdrawal of that money out your account. So it shows a history. So the earnest money. So now the next thing after you've given that earnest money, you have 5 days to do a home inspection.
Mm-hmm.
So the home inspection helps you know what you're buying. So we're gonna have someone in about 2 weeks. They're gonna talk to us a little about the home inspection process.
Yeah.
But you definitely need to do a home. Well, let me take that back. I suggest strongly that you do that you do a home inspection. A lot of
Right.
people don't feel like they need to do a home inspection. So some people are like, I don't want to do a home inspection, but the home inspection is important because it tells you everything you know about the house. Even if you have a new development, I just saw a clip. It was like a meme where they had a vent for the air conditioning. It was on the new
Okay.
construction, and and when you took the vent off, there was no vent. There was nothing there.
There was
A
no
wall.
opening.
There was no opening. It was just a
Oh
wall,
my goodness.
and it was new
Oh my
construction.
goodness.
It was new construction. So people like, oh, well, it's new construction. I don't need to do home inspection. Yes, you do.
Mm-mm.
Those people don't know
Right.
how to do anything just as much as the other person does.
Right. Yeah.
So,
And I actually
and-
had somebody, a friend of mine, he didn't buy his home through me. He was already in the process before we met. So at any rate, I should say before he knew that I was a loan originator. So that's my
yeah.
fault. I should have been talking about myself more. But, but at any rate, he had all these issues with his furnace. Right,
Mhm.
new construction, house just built. Well, and first winter, I think the house was done in May of last year. First winter, so just this past winter.
Right.
All these issues with his furnace going out, and on the coldest days ever, in Indiana, right in the middle of the snow belt. So I mean, all these issues, but new construction, like you said, it's one of those things where you still want to get it checked out. The thing about a home inspector is that they are for you, period.
Yes.
You hire them, you pay them, you select them. They're there objectively for you. They're not there on behalf of me as a lender. They're not there on behalf of Dion as a realtor. They are there for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
it's
it's
in your
very
best
important.
interest.
Right. It's in your interest. And I don't want people to think, oh, well, can I get my money back from the home inspection because I decided not to continue? No. Right. It's a service. He provided a service. They provided a service to you. They expect to get paid. And
Yeah.
so that, the home inspection is the important part. So when I get that executed contract or that contract that says, yeah, okay. When I get that contract that says that they've accepted your offer, there's a couple of things that I do right away, which is send to your attorney, and
Mhm.
then the other is send to your lender. So
Right.
while we're planning for the earnest money, planning the home inspection, the
Yeah.
team is off and running.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that happen right at this time, kind of simultaneously. So
Mhm.
one of the things for me is when I get your fully executed contract, now it's right away. The clock is ticking because at this point now you're contractually obligated. It's a legal obligation because you have committed yourself to do something legally on paper. You signed it. So there are certain dates that have to be met. Like, for example, your application date. There's a mortgage contingency date that's going to be part of your contract. There's a close date that's going to be part of your contract. You'll find out if, like, for example, your attorney ends up needing to request to extend that. Why do they do that? Because if you don't, then you'll be out of contract. And there's
Yeah.
no legal obligation at that point, for the other party to perform. So one of the things that I have to do as a lender, now I have to get your contract in, review it, and then get it set up so that you actually complete a full application. Because up until this point, you haven't. You don't have an official application. So the application is determined when we have an actual address. And from there, what's going to happen is you get a full package of stuff for me, usually for probably about maybe 60, 70 pages long, sometimes longer, depending on the type of finance and the people and state and all that kind of stuff. But at least 60 to 70 pages long, you're going to get this package, and it's up to you to sign it. Normally, this is all done electronically now, so it's pretty easy. It's not a big bother. Back in the day, we used to have to sign all this stuff by hand, and that was a lot more cumbersome. But now, basically what we're doing is we're disclosing everything. There'll be disclosures in there about your credit report. There'll be the actual application itself. We call it a 1003 Uniform Residential Mortgage Loan Application. So that will be in your package. There'll be disclosures about mortgage fraud, the appraisal, all different kind of brokerage agreements and stuff. All of that's going to be in there. We go all over. And there will be something there called the loan estimate, which I normally give you a little detailed overview of, because people usually have a whole lot of questions about the loan estimate. So I try to go over that in a little bit more detail for people. But you will get that package from me via email. You can sign it electronically. Any questions that you have, I'll be more than happy to go over and explain everything for you. But that is something you definitely want to be on the lookout for, and it is time sensitive. Don't sit on it. When you get it, look it over, sign it, because you have to acknowledge it. And then that's also what allows me to do some other things. For example, until you sign that paper, I'm not able to order the appraisal. We'll talk about the appraisal in another episode in more detail. But for now, you do need to know, though, that that is something that is required by the lender. You have to do it. There's no way around it. If you're getting financing on a house, then the lender's going to definitely want to have an appraisal completed, because we got to know the value of the property that you're buying. We're not going to put a lien on the house if it's not worth the amount they're saying that it's worth. So the appraisal definitely has to be done. And I can't do it until you complete the signing of your package to acknowledge that you've received the documents that I sent out, and that you have officially applied for the loan, and you have your intentions are to move forward. So
So we're off and running, right? So
yes, we are.
we definitely are. So next week we're gonna have Libby Popovich with us, and she's gonna talk about we got Libby coming back. She's gonna talk to us about that attorney review period. Because remember, I said I send it to two people. I send it to the lender, and I send it to the attorney. And so at that point, everything gets started, and hey, you're almost to home ownership. So
yes, you're definitely off to a very good start.
Yeah, because we've been prepared. So.
Absolutely. So that's something that we'll talk about next week, and we'll also talk in more detail about that home inspection. I think that'll be the week after, right? We're going to do attorney review first, and then after we'll talk about the home inspection. But those are really critical pieces of what happens as part of the loan process. And so we really want to make sure you guys have a good idea of how it works, a pretty decent understanding. We don't expect you to become real estate professionals, but you should at least, be educated enough to understand how the process works, some of the things that happen, and how they have an impact on you and what your responsibilities are, because you are expected to perform. Sometimes people don't really take the signing of the contract as seriously as they should, but that is, you are legally obligating yourself. When you sign and your offer is accepted, now you have made an obligation for yourself to perform, as well as the seller has made an obligation to perform as well. So both of you guys are legally, contractually obligated to do certain things. And it's part of our responsibility as your team to make sure those things get done. One, that you know what they are, keep up with them, and that they get done in a timely fashion. If they can't, then we have to make requests to make sure that we stay in contract and continue to, follow out through the agreement that was made.
Right. And so that's really why the attorney is really important too. So to make sure that they keep us on that, in line with those dates, and making sure that everything is happening as we can, and not to go outside of your contract dates and end up not in contract anymore. So it's definitely a great process. Even though we talk to you guys every week about the home buying process, one thing, be assured that we hold your hand through the entire process. We make sure we explain everything to you, so that when it comes down to it, you know exactly what's going to happen next. So
absolutely.
All right.
Well, how about that? We're at the end of another Water Cooler Wednesday.
Yes, it's really nice outside. You know, summer's on its way. House
Yeah,
hunting
is that
time
a
is
pool
here.
back there, Dion? You moving on up. You like the Jeffersons over there, I see.
If that pool was mine. But hey, one day I'll have a pool. One day. Can't swim, but we'll have a pool, right?
That's okay. Brutus will help you.
Right, exactly. Isabella, get me
Right.
where I need to be. So,
Your
all
doggy
right.
paddle.
Well, Lisa's name's been showing all this time. So, Lisa White, Vanessa Mortgage.
Hey, where brokers are better. Yeah.
Right. My name's Dion Branch, and I am with Allure Dream Homes, brokered by EXP. So I have myself and a team of other realtors that are here to help you all the way through the home buying process. We'd
Yeah.
love for you to give us a call. So thank you. Bye, guys.
Have a good night, everybody.